welcome back. And we're continuing our conversation, very interesting conversation. This year for Women's Panel, we decided to focus on young women in our society, young women making a mark within their own respective fields. So we have a panel between the age range of 20 to 30 at this time, and we're joined by Chriselle, Kendra, and Tiffany, and we've been speaking about many different issues. As I mentioned before, if you do want to join in on the conversation or have a private question you want to ask these ladies, go ahead and send it on Facebook. I'll get the message and then I can relay it at this point. But the question I was leaving off with before the break was looking at body issues. And this was one of the things that, you know, I have a sister who's a therapist, so she tells me a lot about what's happening in the different school systems and some of the issues that people are facing. And a lot of people may not realize, but some of the very same body issue concerns that we see in North America, and again, I say we're very influenced by the media that we see, are also happening here as well. So let me start it off with the bodybuilder specifically, because you're at the gym all the time, you know. You obviously will see a lot of young girls in there and whatnot.
I mean, I think the most humorous thing, I'll be honest, is like, let's say, you know, I approach a guy and I ask him how long he's gonna take with a certain weighted dumbbell, right? Because I wanna obviously use it. He's gonna actually give them to me and try to like go for a higher dumbbell, and poor the guy is gonna be struggling in the mirror, and I'm watching them. And I mean, it's so egotistical in the gym because half the time all the men do is just they want to go heavy and they have no idea the proper form and technique, and it's a huge pet peeve for me. So I mean, and then when I try to correct men, they get so bloody mad. It's amazing, yeah.
Tiffany, what was that? We should not correct.
No, you should not correct a man. No.
What makes you say that?
Because they know best, I guess.
What's the experience that we have here? I have mine, but
I'm excited to hear Tiffany's experience.
No, you don't have to give personal experience. I understand that one, but I think this is obviously something, there's something rooted here. Why should we not be able to speak up about things that we see that are not right, even if it's of a person of the next gender? Is that because we're fitting into our stereotypical women like to talk role?
No, I think there's a difference between correcting. I mean, I think women are taught to be very talkative and maybe even nagging. So if you go into the nagging mode, it's okay when there is structure to what you're saying and it follows true logic. And the other gender, I think it's maybe because they didn't come up with the logic themselves, right? The face says it first, and then, you know, it's as if though they can't hold back their reaction, and
they get angry.
Yeah, they get angry. Yeah.
I've seen men get so angry that sometimes I wonder, like, if they want to knock me or something, like they get really mad. It's amazing.
And even with that, our culture, females should be passive per se. So
there's an expectation.
Yes, there's an expectation that women are passive. So we shouldn't be correcting the man or something like that. Cause
no. How much of this, because in terms of being able to empower women, one of the things that international movements are looking at is how we socialize our young girls and our young boys. So what are we teaching our children from a young age? You remember in school, the girls swept, the boys put the chairs on top of the table. Yes. You know, they did manual, girls did cleaning. You know, in my primary school years, this is really indicative of my personality, I approached the principal because I didn't want to do sewing class. I hated sewing. I wanted to do woodwork, and of course I was told no, but the boys did woodwork and the girls did sewing. And so all these little gender roles are developed from a very young age. Look back at your childhood. What do you think has really helped for you to be able to develop a strong a strong resistance to what is expected of women at this point in time?
I think for me personally, I was always a rebel. You tell me no.
So you wanted to go against the grain.
You tell me no, and no is yes. And I can't do it, I will do it from I was young. I couldn't, they didn't want to put me on the volleyball team. And you want to hear something so ironic, like it's amazing how the world works. I was always too short, too small. So all in primary school, like they benched me. And you know, I was the only single player on the entire team that actually made it far in volleyball. And that goes to show you, right? And then obviously I had to make a choice between volleyball and bodybuilding. And bodybuilding is obviously the stronger passion. But I mean, all the no's and banging that I took growing up, let me tell you, it was rough.
Yeah, but you also grew up in a family of all girls.
Yeah.
How,
I mean,
did that have a role at all?
I think it might have, yes, to be honest, because to be honest, you know, speaking about it, my mom is a very powerful woman. She's super independent. I mean, that's how we were raised. We would take road trips, just the girls. I mean, and that's because we were young, to Playa alone, you know. She would drive alone. And then that's the next thing. I think men feel like they're the ones that need to drive on these long voyages. And that's what I really liked about my mom. She's like, you want to go somewhere? Let's get in the car and we're going to roll, girls, you know. We were always brought up to be independent, you know, different things like make sure you own the land, you know, different things where it's like you don't want guys to manipulate you, you know. So, I mean, yes, we were taught to be very strong and powerful, but I must say that my dad was the king because he had all of us to cater to him.
So you still had the appreciation for a male role, but
yeah,
you
but my dad was different too, you know.
On...
I mean, like he empowered us as women. I mean, he never belittled us, he never demoralized us, he never felt like, honestly, my dad raised us like we were boys, like we're tomboys, like all of us, we rough. We're actually tougher than boys. He raised us like that, like he knock me up, you know, like punch me in my hand, oh, what's up, you know, like, I mean, I was raised like a boy, maybe that's why, I don't know.
How about you, looking back at your childhood?
I guess I was a bit tomboyish, as far as I could remember, not over the top tomboyish. I was very, I did well academically. I was science major, which was also all males, or mostly males. And then once I finished school, my tertiary level, that's when I tried to get a job. And then I realized that, you know, my qualifications and my gender weren't coinciding. They weren't coinciding to societies.
You should have just went to be a nurse.
Yeah. So I was forced into entrepreneurship, and of course I had no background in business. I had no idea what I was doing. My strategy was to spend $50 and make $100. Right? So that.
Do you think you've spoken several times about being a single mother? Do you think that perhaps taking on the role of mother and father perhaps pushed you more into the place that you are now?
Not necessarily. I think that for me it was an issue of being practical, right? And I had to choose between chasing behind a deadbeat dad for child support, or just coming up with the money myself. And the previous was not an option because I couldn't see how it would be profitable. And by that time, in my head, it was being an entrepreneur was all about profitability. I didn't even want to be popular. Nothing. You didn't have to call my name as long as I was being paid. That's all that mattered. And so once I realized I had to raise my son by myself, then I just put a plan in place. That we were going to make X amount of dollars at the end. This is what I was going to do to get it. And
so you did your own strategizing.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I want to move on to this question here, talking about oftentimes women's voices and opinions are silenced. Have you ever felt that you were ignored or silenced based, and do you think the treatment was based on your gender? Why or why not?
Well, yes.
Kendra looks bursting at this point. We'll go straight to Kendra.
Yes.
You ever had an opinion that you felt was silenced because of your gender?
No, actually, I haven't had that experience. More about age.
Okay, so you face more age discrimination.
I mean, for me, yeah, I'm silenced all the time. I mean,
not that you listen to it.
No, I don't. I mean, I think it's just so repetitive and monotonous. I just shoot it out my ear. But
they can't silence her. They
yeah,
try.
They can try. But you know, and I mean, I won't tell you any lie. I'll be honest. It makes me very lonely. I live a lonely life. To become an entrepreneur, you're so determined and focused. You don't have time for anything else. I don't drink. I don't socialize. I don't do anything. I don't even have a boyfriend at this moment in time. I mean, and that's the next struggle because I feel like I am so strong of a woman. I think I might be a little bit too intimidating for anybody to approach. And I mean, for me, I'll be honest, it's not that I have high standards, but I think that like she said, you don't want to pursue a dead end. Yeah. You want somebody that's gonna compliment you, not drag you down. Yeah. And I refuse to be taken for granted, and I refuse to settle for anything less than I know I deserve at this point in time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which even means if you'll go it alone for a while.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's the same with me. I don't. It's just I take my son to the park every weekend. It's just him and I. We hang out. He's my best friend. You know, and you can't come to my house. You can't call my phone if you didn't buy a product. You can't waste my time chatting on Facebook.
Same thing.
You know, it's just I am very careful of how my time and money is spent.
Time is money.
But it's not only that. I think one of the things that we're really looking at is that you're in the pursuit of success.
Right.
And it's almost that the battle is between being likable, fitting within the norms, going out drinking and partying and spending time with people in a way that they expect you to as a female,
yes, but
versus keeping on your path to success.
No, but the thing is with that is that I guess people don't understand how to manage their time and interaction with people, so they bring a lot of people in their lives. And the problem I find with that is that once people start coming into your life, they bring their drama, right? And for them, it's not drama, but it's a lot of distraction. And before you know it, you didn't meet your deadlines. And the thing is, with being an entrepreneur, you have to discipline yourself.
Yeah, it's a 24/7-hour job. Yeah.
Yes, you have to make sure you meet your deadlines. There's not a boss that is going to cut your pay. Your pay is going to get cut from your lack of discipline.
Your amount of input.
Yes. So you have to stay on course, and it becomes a lot easier when you're alone, unfortunately. But
I think that you have to find that balance. You know, just because you're an entrepreneur or you're independent, it doesn't mean that you have to take away your social life. You know, because we're all humans. We need that social interaction.
Yeah.
So I think as long as we find that balance, then we're able to pursue anything that we want to do.
It's not so much a social life, you know, it's a drama that comes with it.
I agree.
It's not the social life. It's once you start, then you start to see, okay, you know what, this is what I thought it was going to be, and it's what it's always been. Just
not even that, but there are so many negative influences out there, and I believe that it'll drag you down from that optimistic mindset that you have.
Yeah.
Like, people just try to plan all kinds of, you know, thoughts in your head, or just being around. For example, like, I'll be honest, I spent most of my life with someone who was not nearly as ambitious as me, and I wouldn't understand it. He had so much potential, and no matter how much I tried pushing him, no matter how much I would empower him, it wouldn't work. And at some point I kind of felt like he was rubbing off on me, and that's when I had to halt and say, you know what, like, I can't do this anymore. I couldn't do it. And it happens with anybody, with friends, with anyone. They come and they take from you a bit, you know, and I don't want that.
But the thing is with that, and because I think a lot of times we don't understand that people tend to fall into the status quo, and then if you're not careful, they'll try and pull you with them because, you know, it makes them feel comfortable. And it's not because they're trying to be manipulative or vindictive, but the thing is, in their mind, they don't see the end of the tunnel or the journey that you're traveling on. So in their mind, you're just going to be another
Jane.
Yeah, that went so far. They work hard, but eventually had to go and get a job. And there are so many people who fail at entrepreneurship. In fact, probably like 90%.
Now, let's bring it back to one of the issues here. And both as entrepreneurs or even as young professionals, one of the things that is usually advised is that you get a mentor. You get somebody to help you and advise you. How difficult is it to build up? Now, we know family is the first and easiest support, so let's exclude that factor for now. And let's talk about people in your own fields, people who are easily accessible. What has it been like to try to build your support system?
Well, for me, I am currently excuse me, I'm currently a member of Convene, and it's a Christian group of CEOs, and we meet third Saturday every month at the Princess Hotel. And what we do, we align our business goals with our Christian perspective, right? And it has been a great help for me because there are a number of very successful entrepreneurs, mainly from the US, and they have gone through many of the same challenges I've gone through. One of the challenges.
And how many of those challenges are respective to gender?
It's actually respective to culture, really. And some of it is gender, but a lot of it is cultural as well. There was this issue where I started a business, and just recently, and I had somebody working with me, right? And the person, passed a comment that I shouldn't be making more money than them because they're the ones doing most or all of the work, right? But there is no consideration for the risk taken, your investment, or anything like that. But that is really a culture. And when I spoke with my advisor, he said that they have experienced similar issues in the United States, and hence the reason a lot of their employees are Hispanics, because that entitlement of I should get half of what, and this has always been the case for me. People believing that they should get half of what you make, especially if they know how much money comes in from a project, and you have already agreed on paying them a certain amount. That is always an issue. Once I switched over to technology, I didn't have the issue, but once I stepped back over where I needed to employ somebody to do manual labor.
And you had spoken as well about in terms of employment, and this is one of the things we saw. I'm going to come back to you girls with the mentorship one, but just not to lose the opportunity, that we say in Belize you have a crab in a bucket mentality. That's one thing. But oftentimes people talk about not wanting to employ women because of the drama that they bring.
Well, yes.
So, and I think this is key to talk about, because what fundamentally it is here is how women perceive other women.
Right.
And so let's talk about that issue here for a second.
Well, I've been an entrepreneur for 14 years. I'm going on 15. And I have had several employees, most of which were women. Only once I've employed a male, and they're still on board. But the issues I find with the employing females, they would come to work, and the first thing they would do is get on Facebook, right, at work. And then, there would be a party Saturday. There was this one issue where I employed this young lady, and every week she would party Saturday and Sunday and can't come to work on Monday. Tuesday to Friday, she's great. But just that Monday morning, like she can't get it together. And she said, so I asked her about it, and she said, I don't want to, drag this out, but maybe it's best I don't work anymore. And she quit the job and went home to sit and watch TV and chat on Facebook, and her boyfriend went and worked and paid the bills, right? So I guess also this idea that they shouldn't have to work is also an issue. But I remember I texted her one time and I said, you know, as you get older and, you know, you have more responsibilities, if you pursue that lifestyle, if you're the wife and the mother at home working and your husband should die on the road, what happens to you and your kids? And I think maybe I got through to her at that point, but there's still that external pressure of having to bind to that ideology, I guess.
And you guys were chiming in on that, saying you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So let's go back to your mentorship. Is it easy to find mentors?
I mean, for
support systems?
For me,
because I have to pay $580 a month.
For your to be a part of your group. So okay,
it's not free.
Wow, yeah. But I mean, have you ever reached out to a female or male, whoever you wanted your mentor to be, and try to get them to help you as a young professional?
I mean, for me, well, I think we all knew that I had initially I had a male coach, and you know, with all this drama that happened, I kind of lost him, and you know, lo and behold, I found one of the, honestly, I think God really does things for a reason, because without this woman in my life, there's no way I would be what I am, and there's no way I would be as strong and formidable today, because she knows everything about me. Every single problem I have, she's there for me. And that's my same coach, Eleonora, that I was telling you about. I guess you could put her on the screen now, since we found her. No? But yeah, no, she's amazing. I mean, and she's empowering in itself, that she's a woman who faces the same challenges I do. And the same exact thing too.
But she's not in country.
No, she's not here. Okay. No, but maybe that's why we get along as well, because she doesn't have that Belizean cultural mindset. And I'm grateful for that, because female Belizeans have a different mentality towards my sport in specific. And for example, I love my family. Being around them is magnificent, but it derails me in a sense where if they're eating chilmole or cookies, I have to really like move into another room, and the pressure behind them trying to get me to just have one without understanding, I can't. I'm getting ready for my pro debut in August, which means the world to me, and my coach is right there behind me, like, you know, and I've done so well dieting this year around. She's really tweaked everything. So, I mean, I'm so grateful to have her in my life.
So
I too have to pay her, though. But
I could ask you about why this, but that'll be a whole other conversation. So, and how about you?
Well, for young people, we have many support systems. Like for BFLE, we have our youth officers, and they provide us with that information to make informed decisions. So they're always there for us. They have the different youth space that they have for young people and young women, so that they can get the proper information. So for young people, I guess it's easier, you know, to get that support system that you need.
If you want to tag on to an organization, it's easier.
Yeah. I think the issue for me and Priscilla is not that there isn't a support system, but specifically a support system for entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
that is the issue that we're faced with.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's not culturally acceptable, and in fact in the entire Caribbean, when we talk again, I'll talk about my experience traveling the Caribbean and what entrepreneurship looks like.
The Caribbean is well known for the alpha male syndrome. I don't know much has changed, but I know when I used to work in that world, that was what we used to call it.
It is still the same, the alpha male syndrome. It hasn't changed. So and
I mean, a challenge that I face in my sport specifically with males that like just came to mind, I feel like women and men here in Belize, I have to say Belize specifically because I haven't had this problem in Miami. They're way more open-minded. They feel like it could be a guy trainer where maybe, you know, gali muscle, but he does not know A or B about training. He maybe just watches a couple things on TV and slap this and that together. He has no idea the anatomy and physiology of the human body, the peak training, he doesn't know anything. But ultimately, that person will choose him because of that mentality towards male. Because I get that question all the time. Do you train males? Of course I train males. I used to train the FIU football team, for God's sakes. You know, but it's so different, the different mindset they have over there, because in Miami, they were actually so excited to work with me. You know, versus here.
Okay, so I want us to start to round off the conversation because we're running out of time, and
Okay.
we want to move it forward because
Yes,
one of the
okay.
things we spoke about is the fact that you are young professionals at the starting point of your career, not the very beginning, but a little ways down for some of you, and you want to look forward. What are some of the more important things that you feel as a woman you want to accomplish? And then also I want you to tie in what you would say to young people, young women, about deciding on a path, whatever that may be, and going for it. Even if it means you'll be the only female in that career, right?
I mean, the only way I can empower women is by telling them, listen, you know, if there's something they really want to do, some kind of dream that lingers, pursue it. Despite what anyone has to say, you sit down, and if you really believe that, you know, this is something you want to do, go for it. Because there are many women out there that you might not realize that will be there for you. I mean, I'm one of them. I mean, I get a lot of women who reach out to me, and I help as much as I can in every single way, because I realize that also that comes with the title, what really makes me successful is how I can inspire others, and that is my true goal.
Okay. Well, for me, I think it is important that young people get the right information, because as we know, it's obvious that right information equals better decision. And I think that is one of the problems in Belize, that young people don't get that proper information. Many of them don't have that access to that proper information that they need. So my advice would be that there are support systems, there are places that you can get your information that you need to pursue your goals, to make informed decisions. And you just have to go and look for them instead of, you know, staying home or stuff like that. So I would just say to the young girls that there are opportunities, you can go for them and you can reach for them.
Well, for me, I'm always keen on time management and money management. So I would like to encourage, especially young women, that they don't need to waste their youth partying or, you know, conforming to the status quo of what a woman should be. This is a time that you use to pursue your dreams. Don't wait until you're 50 with regrets and you know, of course we have a responsibility in raising our family and our kids. For me I'm a single mother, so I understand that, but of course we have to find that balance where we are able to take care of ourselves as well, and to provide for ourselves financially and otherwise.
All right. Well, ladies, I want to thank you for joining me this morning on our annual women's panel, and this has been a very interesting conversation talking to you all, and I hope that our viewers enjoyed the perspectives that you share, and best of luck with whatever you decide to do, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, it's to focus on domestic violence workshop happening with high school students, so stay tuned.